So, Sean, it's good to be back here at Southwest Dekalb. For me, so much happened at the school. Well, there's one thing I did not do, which is become a professional artist with, a big instrument manufacturer. So, I got to ask you, like, how did you become a con artist, a Conn
Conn
Selmer
Selmer Regional Artist.
regional artist? And now, I mean, they giving you French horns and all this stuff to try out. And I mean, can you get me a horn? Is that
Yeah,
how it works?
I'll call somebody.
You'll call
We'll
somebody.
try and make it work. It all just kind of happened, you
It all
know.
just happened,
It
right?
all
You
just
just
kind of
woke up, right? Got a phone call and
right.
okay.
It all just kind of happened. The last person they had who was like super young to be signed as a regional artist was a while ago. Um, so after Equity Arc and I was on CBS and 60 Minutes and everybody saw the interview, like the calls started coming in. They're like,
Right.
"Hey,
Okay.
so
So
come
that's
sign
what
this
happened.
thing." I've learned a lot, and it's been really beneficial being a regional artist. I mean, I have business cards. I have this amazing horn, which has served me like really well.
Mm.
Um, and then it getting a lot of doors that I think most people just wouldn't get in. The head of Department of Education, he knows somebody literally anywhere. It's insane. Like it's like, I'm thinking of applying here. It's like I was just there. He's like, oh yeah, my godson goes there. Oh, I know that one. That's my brother's sister's. Like it gets to a point like it's really crazy,
Okay.
but it's helpful
Well,
and I'm grateful.
well, I'm happy to collect my 10%.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about equity art because I do
Yes.
remember as we were, you know, building the ensemble, we had some setbacks directly from the Trump administration and canceling the
Hmm.
project. Your name came up as somebody that we should be looking at for the ensemble and getting more involved. So I'm curious to hear your story of how you got connected with Equity Arc and then also the project we did together in DC.
Yes, I was at Allstate at the time when I got the call email from somebody at talent development program, how Equity Art had reached out to them about getting a horn player from Atlanta to come and play with the retired musicians up in Washington D.C. So that's how I first got involved. Like, and I talked it over with my parents. I was like, "Is this a good idea? Should I just go do it?" And we were like, "Let's do it." So we flew up to DC, and it was a great experience playing with the retired musicians. Like, I'm in contact with some of my peers and some of the mentors that were there, like at the time, and still go and ask them questions. We still stay in touch and contact, and it was great. And everybody was there helping you, making sure you could do your music the best. And that's what I appreciated most of the retired musicians, my peers, meeting people from all over the country, um, from different programs. That was the real treat,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, you certainly, you alongside all the other students that participated, really showed that you all are bringing a lot of integrity and quality to the performance, a lot of great musicality as well. And I'd like to say, I mean, that's what a lot of life is about, bringing your very best to personal situations, family situations, but also professional ones as well. So you all did a great job, really representing yourself, and in turn, equity art. Now, I remember the feeling of we did all this filming. I had no idea how the segment was going to turn out.
Yeah.
So here it is, Sunday night. I don't know
Turn on
what's
the
about to
TV, you don't
happen,
know
right?
what's gonna be
Okay.
on. Yeah.
So take me back to kind of sitting there and watching the segment. Now you blew up and became famous. That that was happening, but I didn't get phone calls from Conn Selmer and all these other companies and wanting endorsement deals. But anyway, what was that experience like sitting there watching the segment for the first time?
It was it was thrilling, and it was nice to see that, that people were moved by my words.
Yeah, it was.
And like seeing myself on TV, it wasn't like I pulled up a video I recorded, like actually just turning on the TV and like saying boom, there I was. Like um never lowballed myself, but I can't say either. It's like I knew that was gonna happen. Um I appreciated the opportunity provided by Equity Arc so I could do that in the first place and have that experience share with others. And it allowed me to grow from it, right? Not just the attention I got from the short interview and the question I answered, but just from the experience Equity Arc itself gave me playing in the wind ensemble, collaborating with musicians, and then being able to carry those connections and networking all the way, still in my career later.
I do want to, ask about your path that, led you to Southwest.
Yeah, I definitely didn't just come out the gate, start at Southwest. I started in fourth grade cluster band. That was with the MLK cluster band with
Oh,
Mr. McPherson. I started in fourth, and I also played in fifth grade too at Flower Rock Elementary.
and you started on horn.
I started on horn, natural French horn player. Like
Whoa.
no, I didn't switch from trumpet.
Oh, okay. That was my next question.
I would tend to just use my ear a lot and play with other instruments we're playing. Then sixth grade, I started doing marching band with MLK High School. So doing marching band and playing in the Salem concert band my sixth grade year, that was my start there. I had to get a little better at reading music, right? Because it wasn't just cluster band. I could go off everybody else.
So experience you have certainly, gotten in this program has also been supplemented by experience doing other ensembles
Yes.
outside of Southwest. So
Hmm.
I'm curious to ask you, how do you juggle it? Because see,
Yeah.
when I came into Southwest, I was doing a lot of stuff outside already, and it was difficult for me to add stuff like marching band on top of everything else that I was already committed to. So I wasn't involved in the marching band as much. But also my freshman year, they started filming Drumline. So all of that was super exciting. So I'm curious to ask you again, what your experiences were like outside, how you balance that
Yes.
with everything going on here at Southwest.
Yeah. So my ninth grade year is when I really started to get experience and do things outside of just like marching band or like high school band, right? So in 2022, I did the Frozen Wings concert with the AUC orchestra, and then like universities orchestra. And I was like, I want to do more stuff like that. And I didn't know it at the time, but I was on that gig with other ASL musicians. So I asked Mr. Hall, the person who had given us that gig, I was like, how do I get more stuff like that? I was like, I think I want to join the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra. He was like, well, you can't do that yet. But he was like, you can do ASY or you can do the youth orchestra. I was like, what's that? He was like, well, and like he explained it and everything. And this was ninth grade. This was ninth grade. He was like, well, also you can get into TDP. A lot of the kids that are in TDP, the talent development program, have a better chance of getting into the ASY. I was like, how do we do that? Then we got to work. So um the balance part wasn't too difficult because I had already had a marching band experience before. It was just instead of adding on the marching band and like high school portion, I was adding on like the orchestral side to things, like the classical repertoire, everything that talent development program gave me through Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, a Metropolitan Youth Symphony Orchestra. Like I added that on to everything else.
Okay.
You know.
Because I know for me, I learned about a lot of that in the sixth grade.
Mm.
I started playing trumpet in the second grade. So yeah, I was one of those where I could barely hold the instrument, that type of thing. Barely buzz my lips. I don't even know if I had my adult teeth in at that time. But it was good to get started that young. So by the time I was like in sixth grade and learned about talent development, I had a brother that was in the program, who's a couple years older than me. And then I remember in seventh grade getting into talent development, and that's when I started getting exposed to the orchestra and this whole other world. Because I grew up. We're talking 30 years ago,
Yeah.
okay? Well, I was growing up with Ti and Ludacris and Outkast, and
Mhm.
that was certainly what I was hearing, in terms of popular music. TLC and um, yeah, like No Scrubs. That was like one of the hit songs for a long time. I know a couple years ago. Um, but then my father was exposing me a lot to jazz, and then the talent development program was exposing me a lot to classical music. I did MISO in the eighth grade,
Okay.
and I got first chair. I was really surprised because they didn't. I I don't remember them telling us until the very first rehearsal. So here I am sitting in the hot seat as an eighth grader. I remember the first piece we played was Shostakovich's Festive Overture.
Oh.
So I just that was talk about like baptism by fire. in that type of environment. So when did you get bit by the bug? I mean, you started to get exposed to all of this 8th grade or so, ninth grade. And do you remember that moment when you were
I
like,
mean,
maybe I might want to be a horn player, maybe I might want to
mhm.
pursue it professionally?
Yeah, that bug, well, I feel like that started that, 9th grade year when I first got introduced to all the orchestral and classical repertoire. I was like, because it was something new and something I wasn't used to. And, starting off maybe not very, very good at, or I'll say used to, not very good at, but not used to. It was different.
Uh-huh,
It was
right.
different,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
So, but I liked that feeling because it was a chance to, like, get better at it. And then, I'll say, like, the inspiration for horn playing came, like, summer of my 10th grade year when I was going to be a junior, at Governor's Honors Program, which they accept. Feel like it's 1% of the applicants who get in, and you spend 2 to 4 weeks down at Georgia Southern, and they have a brass coach there, and it's basically like a simulation like you're a music major. That's when I really just started having fun playing, and I was like, I enjoy hearing myself, like, I enjoy, like, making music and thinking about what, like, the power it has and what it can do. I was like, "I think I wanna perform." I was like that, so, because I got chills.
Well, there are 2 quick stories I want to tell you that I've
Okay.
learned a lot being in this band. I think it's great that we both um, had the same band director, and I want to say Mr. Sater was probably in his first couple of years, I think, here at Southwest.
Mhm,
And there was some co-teaching with Don Roberts, who would come in and work with the band from time to time, that I remember. Um, and some of these important lessons, I mean, one was there was a challenge, an audition the trumpet section was having
mhm,
where you could move up or you could move down
right.
depending on how well you played. I'm sure the same thing happened. And I didn't really take it that seriously that week, but all the other trumpet players did. And here I was, I think I was sitting first or second maybe. And the other trumpet players, I mean, they roasted me that week. And I remember I went down to like the bottom of the section, and it felt like I stayed at the bottom of the section for probably a month. And so that was a really big lesson. And another one I remember being at, I think it was at the large group ensemble
Mhm,
performance. And I had a big trumpet solo, and Mr. Seda asked me to go stand in front of the whole band. So when it came down for the solo, I would get out of my chair, go up to the thing, play the solo. And I remember I was so nervous getting up there. Like all the rehearsals were pretty good,
mhm,
and somehow in the performance, it did not go well at all. It felt like I was missing every other note. And played it. I remember I dropped my head down after, and I kind of just like sunk back, went back to my seat around the side of the band.
mhm,
And I'm blanking on his name, but it was the French horn section leader,
mhm,
who came up to me afterwards, and he was half upset, but also half, supportive and warm
mhm,
of saying like, here at Southwest, we don't do that. You always keep your head up high. No matter how it goes, you do the very best that you can and you own it and keep your head up and you walk back to your seat, with a lot
yeah,
of pride. And like, never do that again. Never, be upset. And I probably was visibly set. I think I wanted
mhm,
the audience to know that I could have and should have done better, but I
mhm,
just wasn't having that great day.
right.
And I'll never forget, I mean, those two big lessons, with everything else that was learned. I always say I learned more in the band, everything about being a good section leader, a good colleague, and a good friend. But quite frankly, it was a band and an ensemble of people where we all shared the same cultural identity.
Mhm,
We all pretty much grew up the same in the same neighborhood, really throughout this immediate area. And that was a much different feeling that I had here than I had at Interlochen or at the Atlanta Youth
of
Symphony,
course.
where we didn't necessarily all come from the same cultural background. We weren't all in the struggle together. I know we were laughing at your horn having some tape on it, but everybody's horn had tape on it. Everybody's horn had dings in it. We were making the best out of everything. But what I realized is that we were getting the same good instruction here at Southwest, the same support, the same encouragement, the same high standards, and in many cases, even higher standards here than I was getting anywhere else. But I had band directors, I had colleagues that like saw me for who I was and the potential that I had. So I never forget those lessons here. You got the best teachers with a lot of experience and to have people that have dedicated 25, 30 years of their life of perfecting their craft as educators that are here motivating you and all. I know that you'll have a chance to look back 25, 30 years from now,
Mm.
but let's just take a look back the past 4 years that you've been here. And I'm curious, what big lessons have you learned here specifically at Southwest that you're going to take on with you as you move on?
Oh yeah, definitely. That camaraderie, that's definitely here at Southwest, and the amazing instruction you get from Mr. Seda himself. Like, um, he's known around the country, probably even the world, like as like an amazing trumpet player, but also a great teacher too. And like, I'd never want to like forsake or take for granted like the instruction, like and how long he's been here, like and everything he puts into us. That standard that's been set, that creed that we have on the wall that we say before every football game, every time we even leave the band room, and like that gets instilled in you, and it gives you a sense of pride, right? To be we're all proud of each other and proud of the work that we've put into it and the product that we can get out of it. And Mr. City just has a huge part of that, and we owe it to him. You know.
Yeah, no, we all do. And to see where we all turned out after our experience here, has been, we always come back. I probably a couple months ago got together with several of my colleagues, old
Mhm.
friend, because we were talking about the 20th anniversary of our graduation, and we really were feeling like some old people. But I mean, the main thing we talked about were our experience in band, everything
Mhm.
that we learned, all the goofy stuff that happened, um, and all the connections and friends that we made. So that was something we come back to. I don't think we sat there talking about like what we learned in algebra or geometry or
Yeah,
whatever we were taking, calculus or chemistry and all of that stuff. But I mean, we all grew up together pretty much in the band room, and to
mhm.
see where those experiences took us all, it's been pretty amazing.
Has to be.
So as you make this next step, what are you doing next year?
I plan to be majoring in music performance.
Hmm.
Once I don't want to lose all the work that I've been putting in on my French horn, everything I've learned being classically trained and having that HBCU background, it's not a lot of people who can say that they have both, and have been like we just talked about walking around and here like um dabbling in both worlds like fully. So I don't want to lose what I built up on French horn. In fact, I want to keep growing it, but also use my background and experiences to help me progress and then hopefully make a positive impact on other people.
Yeah. So I'd like to shift gears a little bit and talk about family because I know what was different for me is having two
Excuse me.
parents that are both professional musicians and educators. And as you know, on top of all that, my mom taught orchestra here at Southwest and AP music theory. But
Mhm.
I'm curious to ask you about the role that your family has played in your development all these years.
Yeah. Um, well, they get me places first off, whether that's an audition in Chicago or just right downtown to the Atlanta Symphony. But my mom's also my momager,
Okay.
so is like she helps me with all the organizational stuff. And her being my mom and being involved in all the organizational stuff and like the files, the paperwork, like she's always been the one who's been looking out like truly just for me, not what's best like for this person's orchestra, that person's like school. Like my mom's always looking out for me, and that means everything. Just to have that genuine support from both of my parents, my mom and my dad. My dad, we drive everywhere, just everywhere.
Yeah.
And so no, neither of them are musicians, but they're helping me try and become the best one that I can. And I can't ask for like more than that because it's been great, and I'm super grateful.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah. No, that always makes a big, big difference. And it looks like some of the organizational stuff you might need to tackle
Yeah.
on your own as you make your next step from here. So, what are you most looking forward to as you take these next steps? Most likely will leave Atlanta, start your professional training, and but what are you most looking forward to, and uh, what types of supports do you think will be important for you to have as you make those next steps?
Well, Mr. Thompson, what I'm most excited for is growing, getting better on my instrument, positively impacting others, and then showing people that to look at music as a whole rather than two completely contrasting different genres or styles. You know, jazz, marching band, whether that's core style band or HBCU traditional style band, orchestra. Like, I'm interested in showing people how to look at music as a whole and seeing the beauty in all of it. How the one thing all of us musicians have in common is we can make people feel things, whether that's sadness, joy, making people feel boisterous, like just different emotions. And you can do that with all like the type of genres. And I think that's pretty cool. So not only am I excited to better my skill on my own instrument and turns my own professional and flesh out my career, but, I'm excited to hopefully have a positive influence on others and really see where that takes me from there.
Well, I like to say that if that's your focus and that's your goal, there's so many pathways to take. I'm excited to see what's going to happen. I hope that you don't forget those types of values that are driving you and really keep that in focus as you make your next steps. I also hope that you will break some new ground. There's been a lot of horn players that have played Tchaikovsky and interpreted and played Glier and Strauss and all these other, concertos and pieces. But really to have um, in your kind of aim impacting the lives of other people. I don't think that there's enough musicians out there
Mhm.
that are doing that. And again, want to remind you of the perfect example that you've had all these years here at Southwest, other programs you've been, but to be able to work with those that have cared a lot about both of us and about
Mhm.
the people that we're becoming, the musicians that we're becoming. And I really look forward to doing everything that we can at Equity Arc to continue to support that journey. But then to put you in front and say, it's going to be your responsibility to help lift up, the next group of young people and audiences that really, really need that type of connection and that guidance and, quite frankly, that inspiration. All right. Well, look, looking forward to seeing how you'll turn out, and
Yes.
we'll certainly stay in touch. But
Thank you for the
definitely, good
support.
luck. Yeah,
Yeah.
certainly.